It's Today in Putnam County with Shan Stout.
Hi everyone, welcome to Today in Putnam County. I'm Shan Stout. I'm the Executive Director of the Cookeville-Putnam County Visitors Bureau, and I'm here with my co-host Tessa Davis, and we have a wonderful guest today, as all of our guests are always great, but today I'm very excited to learn more about an organization, and I have Steve Chatman. Hi Steve.
Hi Shan, how are you?
I am so grateful you're here.
Yeah.
We're going to have not only an important conversation, but we are talking about something that impacts Putnam County in a really strong way, I feel like, and that is Rising Above Ministries. So I have so many questions to unpack. You guys have been here a long time. We know who you are as locals. Some of our viewers and our listening audience may have no idea what Rising Above is. And so today is our awareness tour, right?
Yes.
So let's start out first off, what is your title? And then tell us a little bit about the origin story of Rising Above.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Vice President of Rising Above Ministries, which sounds like a very important, prestigious title. But
it means a lot of responsibility. I know what Vice President means.
You wear a lot of hats. We're a small organization, local nonprofit, but we have a very large reach and impact by virtue of what we do. So I was originally from East Tennessee, came here to Tech, like so many do, and then stayed. So I've been here about 30 years.
I'm glad we could recruit you as a permanent resident.
Yes.
That always makes me happy.
Ended up staying and, began our family here. And I have 5 children,
Wow.
4 grandkids, and I have 2 daughters with special needs. And so we heard about Rising Above Ministries, which started 21 years ago. Jeff and Becky Davidson launched this ministry out of their own journey with their son, John Alex, who has profound disabilities. And they just saw a need for someone to come alongside and see these families like ours. And so they started with just some simple things. We heard about it, and I said, I'm going to check this out and see what this is all about. So we went to one of their events, and it was just fantastic. And so we started getting involved with Rising Above. They started by doing a little monthly worship service, a sensory-friendly gathering for families.
Nice.
Because many families who are impacted by disabilities are not in church. Not because they don't want to,
there's a lot of difficulties around
there are.
that, absolutely.
And so they started with that. Then they did a large sensory-friendly Easter egg hunt. And that was just a lot of fun back in those days. And so we got involved like that. And so I've been involved. Jeff was he and I actually served on church staff together for a season before he went full time with Rising Above. And then about 7 years ago, Jeff got real sick and passed away.
Oh.
And so his wife Becky stepped up and assumed leadership, had done a phenomenal job. And I would always step in. She would reach out like, hey, Steve, could you maybe help with this or whatever, which was always an honor. And then about 5 years ago, she came and said, would you ever think about doing this full time? And the timing was perfect. I was wrapping up about 20 years at the church I was at and looking for another opportunity the next season. And here I am doing this full time now.
So let's talk about, we know the importance of Rising Above, and you've talked how you were a recipient of the services that this bolstered to our community. And not every community has something like this to support. And it is parental support. You are supporting the family and giving those resources. But as a parent, how did that feel to find out that something was specifically geared towards supporting that gap of services in your family?
Yeah, well, it's life-giving for most families when you find that there's a Easter egg hunt that has wheelchair accessible egg hunts, that has egg hunts for children who have vision impairments, that sensory-friendly spaces, because a lot, we always talk about our children grow up in a world that really isn't designed for them.
Yes.
And that's not intentional or malicious. It's just if you don't live that life, you don't think about it. And why would you? And so when you find out there's an organization doing things, offering a monthly gathering for your families, and you come in there and it would sometimes be loud, but everything was designed, it's like they've thought about families like mine.
And what about your daughters? Did that give them a sense of normalcy and empowerment, that they felt included, not in a, to me, that is a real important thing that we see amongst the special needs. You know our journey. We have worked this past year trying to make our community more and more accessible.
Absolutely.
Tonight we are celebrating Waterfalls for All, and we're going to have a documentary launch party, and we're going to have basically a cast party of all of the special needs community that were involved in filming the documentary. And their story over and over, because in the downtime of doing their interviews, I would ask them about their journey and what was important to them. We wanted their view,
right?
Not my perceived view, because that's meaningless, but their view was very important. And it was very similar in one particular thread, which is they wanted to be seen as a human being, just like all of us. We want to be seen. They want to be understood, and they want to be considered. You know what I mean? And so they want to be able to participate just like anyone else. And those barriers, they said, we had one particular interviewee, and she said, it makes me feel small when someone hasn't considered what I need to be there.
Yeah. Sure.
You feel left out. And I thought, you never want someone to feel small. I mean, that just broke my heart. And it bolstered what we're all about, which is trying to make everyone be included and just not have those barriers, so that it's effortless for them in a way that maybe they didn't have before.
Right.
I love the fact that you went from being a parent who appreciated this ministry to being a leader in the ministry to being one of the top level leaders in the ministry. Rising Above, you said it's been around for over 20 years?
We're in our 21st year.
Wow.
Which is amazing, and it's grown and it's shifted and changed. I mean, initially it was just really a local event-based ministry with like the Century-Friendly Easter egg hunt. We would do a thing called the Heroes Ball, where we bring the entire family. We have a red carpet, and we're just celebrating these families. We feed them a nice meal, then we have a time for dancing, and it's just an opportunity to say, we see you, we celebrate you. But, it went from just this local event-based thing to COVID changed our world, and we had to make shifts in programming, and so now we have a massive online ministry where we are reaching families literally around the country.
So how do we find that?
So if you go to our website, risingaboveministries.org, we're there. You can find it. We have community groups that meet via Zoom. We have moms from all over the country that log on. I'm in one of the groups, one of our dads groups on Wednesday nights. We have dads from around the country. These are guys that there's no Rising Above in their community, and they're struggling to find their community, and we help them connect. That was a game changer when we started doing things like that, and so these families can find us. We have resources for moms and dads. We have an app that is phenomenal, that has so many resources. Many of these families find themselves in hospitals for long periods of time, or they're up in the middle of the night dealing with issues. And you can grab that app, and it's just loaded with encouraging videos, fellow parents, speaking words of life and hope. There's just so many resources on that app, and we've gotten so much feedback from families, from parents that are like, that app has just been a game changer for us.
Well, I love to hear, because the pandemic was a struggle.
Right.
It was a really scary time, but we have seen across that time what has come out has been, it has kind of connected our worlds together in a way that we were forced to.
Right.
Absolutely. We twisted our arm to make it happen. Right. Everybody had to get creative, but then it stuck.
Yes.
And that was a beautiful thing. But what must it be like, when you have a special needs person in your home, not just children, but anyone with a physical disability, a mental disability? I see oftentimes they're staying home more, so they feel isolated, they feel alone, because getting out is harder than just everybody get in the car and let's go somewhere, right? There are A, B, C, D, E, F, G steps to be able to make something happen. And so that isolation piece, you're pulling that barrier away as well, so that people feel connected and they don't feel like this is only happening to them, that there are other people going through it. Tessa, you have your own journey with your children. You have 6 children, so let's first off applause.
Right, one up on us there.
I know
Good
Steve's
job.
got 5, so you're winning. I think you're winning. I'm not sure,
But I don't always feel like I'm winning.
Yes.
Just
So
tired. But I say my hands are full, but my heart is fuller.
Yes.
And we love all of our kids, and they're phenomenal. And our youngest, Oliver, he's 4. He is autistic and has a global I can't.
we'll get it out. Developmental.
That
we got
disorder.
Yes.
For some reason, I always have trouble with that part. But he is such an amazing kid. But whenever I heard those words, I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what kind of resources we were going to need. And I was able to connect with some local parents here in Cookeville that have kids with the same challenges our Oliver does. And come to find out, a lot of them are a part of your organization. And I thought, okay, you know, what is this? What do they do? And I started to research. And what you offer to families, it is so amazing, because I felt so alone. I didn't know what this meant for Oliver in the community, because any parent that has a young child with autism, you know, there's the tantrums, and you don't want to take them into large spaces. You know, church was a struggle for us too, because it
can be a trigger. Yeah.
It's very overwhelming and overstimulating. So it was just a lifesaver for us to know that we're not alone.
Yeah.
And anytime that we have questions or we have struggles, there are other parents that have walked that path, and they know exactly what we're going through. So that has been so helpful to us, more than I can explain.
And that's a huge part of Rising Above. It's helping families connect, helping us find one another, to let you know you're not alone. Do you realize in Putnam County there are nearly 11,000 individuals who live with a disability in Putnam County? When I talk to in the Upper Cumberland, I talk to special education leaders, and I always ask them, how many students in your system have an IEP, which means they have some kind of disability? And across the board, it runs about 20%.
Sure.
So that represents a large number of families who are living. And to your point earlier, most of them, a lot of them you don't see because we do isolate. You know, we kind of get, sometimes it's just easier to manage it in here
stay home,
than step out there. And so, which is why I love what you guys are doing with our parks, and just raising that awareness. Like, what can we do? Sometimes it's simple modifications to make something accessible for a family. But I don't think the public realizes how important that is, how much that means to a family. If you go to a park, if you go to an event, and they've thought about you, they've had you in mind and said, hey, you're good here. You know,
this is
you're
safe.
You're not an inconvenience.
Struggle.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
well,
it's a game changer.
You know, we spoke with a caregiver where her husband had a stroke, and they were new to wheelchairs because he, of course, had to use a wheelchair. And she said, I felt so ignorant at first to understand why was I not paying attention before to the things that, I mean, like, you know, just trying to get through an aisleway in a store, just thinking, is the doorway wide enough for me? You know, all these different things, trying to get her husband, you know, from one spot to another. She said it might only be 25 feet you're trying to travel, but it feels like 5 miles.
Yes.
And I thought, gosh, you know, that is something that until you've gone through it, or you have a loved one who has gone through it, or you've had to be a caregiver of sorts, you know, you don't know the barriers. And so as we have researched this, we find out more and more how inadequate we are and what can we do. So we've started out with the smallest things, and we're building toward the larger things. And I will say the state of Tennessee, they are forerunners. They want to be ahead of the nation. They want to be one of the first states to be fully accessibility friendly. I mean, they are making big changes.
Well, we've got an incredible commissioner of the Department of Disability and Aging, Brad Turner, who is a special needs dad himself. So he lives it, he gets it, and I absolutely echo that. They're doing phenomenal and saying, let's lead the way. Let's show other states how to do this and do it well.
But without organizations like Rising Above, without you guys with your boots on the ground right here in smaller communities, it takes a village. It
Absolutely.
truly does, because you may have somebody that's handling, big picture items like infrastructure
Right.
and, scenic overlooks and pathways and all of that.
Yes.
But you guys are connecting families together, providing resources, helping children, adults, teenagers be seen and heard and valued and celebrated. I just love it. Now, when we come back, don't go away, because we're going to get you guys involved. We're going to let you in on a little secret on how you can be a part of Rising Above, whether you have someone that needs the resources, whether you know someone who may need to check out Rising Above, or how you can give back and support this valuable ministry. You are listening today in Putnam County, and we are talking to Steve Chatman, and we will be back right after this.
We're back with Today in Putnam County with Shan Stout.
Welcome back to Today in Putnam County, and we've been talking to Steve Chatman of Rising Above Ministries, which is right here in Putnam County, offering local services and support to families for special needs and a myriad of diverse disabilities. We've been talking about children so far, and we've touched on a little bit in the adult arena, but this ministry is for anyone. Caregivers, you have support groups. It's offering support and special events for children with disabilities. Talk about the full picture, and then we're going to go into letting our listeners and our viewing audience see how they can give back to help support us.
Yeah. So we're a family ministry. So we come alongside the family. We talked earlier about how it takes a village, and for disability families, we're not educating children. We've got an incredible special education department here in Putnam County. So we don't do therapies. We have some great organizations that do therapy, have professional therapists. We come alongside the family, mom, dad, the neurotypical siblings. And we provide support and encouragement, because, Tess, even as you were saying, when you get that diagnosis, it changes your whole life. Suddenly you're like, okay, we weren't prepared for this. What does this mean? And oftentimes the things that you took for granted, now you don't. And so it can be a very isolating thing. So a big part of our events and our programming is to help families find each other, to realize you're not alone. And so we do that through a lot of different things. Our community events have been sort of our signature programming throughout the years. Whether we do a spring prom every spring, and this is for individuals 14 years and up. So we partner with Life Church here locally. We do that in the spring, and it's a prom. They tuxedos, suits, dresses. Some of them come in limos. We have red carpet. We have people lined that are cheering and welcome them in. We have hors d'oeuvres. We have a dance. We have photo booth, karaoke. It's just a fun time. This last spring, we had nearly 200 special guests.
Wow.
Again, from 14 to folks in their 70s.
Wow.
Out there, dancing and just enjoying this evening. We have a respite room for the caregivers, where we feed them, we play games, we give away door prizes, and it's a chance for them to connect and realize, oh, we're not the only family living this life.
Not just, but you're giving them some downtime. There's, when you
Yes.
are a caregiver of special needs, you don't get a break.
Right.
You're always worried. You're making sure they're safe. You're making sure they're eating well. All of the things that they need.
You're always on.
Always.
Yes.
And I think that's a beautiful piece here that is maybe underrated, except for the people that have experienced it. Like, they are so grateful to know that the person that they're in charge of, that they love, that they're taking care of, is in a safe space.
Yep.
And for this span of time, you can just breathe for a minute, right?
Absolutely. It's a big piece, that respite piece. I always say that I want to rewrite that Aretha Franklin song of respect, R-E-S-P-E-C-T, to R-E-S-P-I-T-E. That's just a little bit of respite. That's what I want, right?
Yes, we
because
get it.
It is. It's so huge. And you think, well, there's 2 hours. that's 2 hours. That can be life-giving.
Yes.
And just, I'm not having to feed somebody. I'm not having to
Recharge
worry.
your battery
you
for a
know
tiny
that
window.
they've got, we have over 200 volunteers that help us. So every person has a host. So they're taken care of. And so yeah, it's things like that that just provides a beautiful evening. We do the Heroes Ball, which is for the whole family. We do a couple of retreats. We do an annual retreat for moms, and that's local moms and around the country. This last summer, we had 80 moms from 17 different states
Oh my goodness.
come right here to Middle Tennessee, from California to Maine,
Wow.
Florida to Ohio. It's incredible. Last fall, we did at our dad's retreat, we had 44 dads from 10 states. We had a dad drive from Maryland.
Oh my goodness.
And I asked him, I said, why would you drive all the way from Maryland to this? He said, I'm just looking to connect. He said, I've tried up there and I just haven't been able to find anything. He said, I'm looking to connect with other dads. And so programming like that, we do things like that throughout the year. But then also we have our online resources that are available 24/7. Where that's encouragement. If you're a dad, if you're a mom, if you're a neurotypical sibling, we created a program a couple years ago called the Sib Shop or the Sib Show, and it's designed for siblings, elementary age siblings who have a brother or sister who has a disability, and it's a very interactive. You can do it in your own home. A church could do it as a fun night for these kids. It's about 45 minutes, highly interactive. You can play along with our crew, but all throughout this show, we're just letting them know, hey, you're pretty awesome, because oftentimes these neurotypical siblings are sometimes called shadow siblings because they kind of live their sibling with disability. A lot of times requires a lot of care.
Yes.
And so just to let them know, we see you. You have great value too, and so again, it's just coming alongside families and letting them know we see you. We want to encourage, and we want to help you connect. You know, we have a monthly gathering for dads, and again, it's just about 2 hours. We feed them, and it's dads just hanging out and connecting with one another. And as one dad told me one time, he said, I know this is only about an hour and a half, 2 hours a month. He said, but this means so much to me. And that's so encouraging. Because I get it too. I mean, again, I always tell people, I'm not this expert in disability. I'm a practitioner. I live this life 24/7. And so I understand and get it. And that's what we're about, is just being here to provide those services, come alongside those families and say, we see you, we get it, because we are too, and let's connect. And here's some things to encourage you in this journey.
So again, let's talk about, for people that are listening and they say, I know someone, or I am that person, or I'm a mom or dad, or I'm a wife or husband that is the caregiver. They're looking for that support. What's the best way for them to reach out to you? Just
go to our website, risingaboveministries.org. If you Google that, Google Rising Above, we're probably going to come up. And you can go to our website and you can find all of our resources. All of our community groups are on there. We have online community groups that meet throughout the week. We have a couple of podcasts. Becky Davidson does one, and then last year we started a podcast just for dads. Myself and a couple other dads do this, and so you can find our podcast. You can find information about getting our app, and everything is there. How to contact us, how to get in touch with us, about our events and our programming, and that's a big part of it, is telling people like, hey, share with somebody you know, because as you said, most people even listening will be like, you know what, I have a coworker, there's a guy at our church, or my cousin. I wonder if they know about Rising Above and what we do. And so that's one of the greatest ways people find us, is like, well, my uncle told me about your ministry or whatever. And so but go to our website. That's one of the best ways to find us and find out about who we are and what we do.
And you were speaking earlier before we went live, and you said, when you've met one special needs family, you've met one special needs family.
Right. Yes.
Every family and their particular needs are different.
Sure.
And you guys also understand that, because even in a world where we're trying to make it accessible, everyone has such a different view of what they need, right?
Yeah.
It is a complicated problem to tackle.
Yes. Well, it is, because again, every situation is different. It impacts differently. We have lots of parents will tell us, I really don't know that I should be taking advantage of your resources because, my child is so high functional or my situation, and I'm always like, your situation is your situation.
Yeah.
There's no comparison here. We all struggle. We all have challenges. One of the hosts on our dad's podcast, his son is very high functioning. I mean, he's incredible, but he has one of the most complex medical situations I've ever heard of. But he's like, man, you guys, you've got developmental delays. You've got, your child's in a wheelchair. And I'm like, dude, I don't know how you do what you do and manage your son's disability. So never compare. And that's not what we're about. We're just about to say, hey, we are in this together. And, again, we're navigating a culture and a world that really isn't designed for us. And so we have, and it's just good if you're not alone. It's good if there's others out there too. And so that's a big part of, again, just raising that awareness and helping families know. I always tell families, like, hey, if your need is something we don't do or offer, I'll help you find the organization that does. Because
so you're a good funnel
there are
of support.
So many incredible organizations. We've used them ourselves personally, and we know about them just through networking and stuff like that. So we get a lot of families we're kind of their first call. Okay, like I just got a diagnosis, or I just found out, where do I start? And we're like, well, we're glad you called. Let's go have coffee. I want to hear more about your story. And sometimes that just having somebody that gets it. And then if you're looking across the table with if you've got a young child and you're looking across the table with somebody who's got an adult child, and you're like, well, okay, you seem normal. You're still making it. That gives me some hope.
Yeah.
And I've learned so much when our girls were little from the older guys who had children with Down syndrome. Just like, hey, what potty training look like? What this look like? We're such a great resource in and of ourselves, and so helping us connect like that is so important.
Well, and Tessa, you were talking about your journey and how empathy from the community can go very, very far. And, we live in a little bit of a judgmental culture where people make snap judgments based on one little blip of time. And, tell us a little bit about what it's like to be a mom, because you still have a small child. And, maybe just having everyone to just take a breath and have some consideration that you don't know everyone's story.
Yeah, I have learned so much, because when we first got the diagnosis, I didn't know what to expect, and along with it came some behavioral issues that we've had to overcome. He will go into Walmart some days.
And let's clarify for new people listening, your son was diagnosed with autism.
Level 2 autism and a global delay disorder. So he was nonverbal for majority. He was probably nonverbal for two years. And he just recently started saying somewhat full sentences, handful of words, but he has overcome so much in such a short time. But we still deal with a lot of behavioral stuff. So sometimes going to Walmart grocery shopping would be a challenge and scary, because great example, yesterday my husband took him to Walmart and he saw a pool noodle and he started throwing a fit because he wanted a pool noodle. And of course people stared, thinking, why aren't you, doing something about your child? Why aren't you, you should spank that kid? Well, they don't understand that, yes, he looks like he's 4, which he is, but really in his mind, he's 1.5, 2. So they don't understand.
The world. Because every kid sees a pool noodle at Walmart once and maybe pitches a fit, right? I did that. But our children they're processing the world neurologically so differently. And, and that's where and people don't realize that, but they don't see, they just see, oh, this kid's pitching a fit, he's not getting a pool noodle. And you're sitting there having to navigate and feel like, okay, everybody's looking. And,
at first I would be embarrassed. I would get so embarrassed and be like, I just want to get out of here as soon as possible. But now people see it, and I'm like, he loves balloons, he loves pool noodles, he has an obsession with dinosaurs. So anytime he sees one, he has to have it, because that's what he's passionate about. And I tell him about autism and what we face, but how smart he is, and he doesn't see the world the same as we do. So now I've been able to teach families that are starting out what I started out 2 years ago. I've had people come to me, I've heard Oliver has autism, what does that look like for you? So I've been able to help families that have helped me. So I'm still learning something every day, and I've met a lot of families through Rising Above that they've connected me with speech therapists,
Yep.
Other ABA therapy, and so I have received so much help from Rising Above, and I've made so many good friends in this community because of it.
So for people listening today,
Yep.
how can they help? Because you can't do this without funding.
Right.
I mean, you can have the greatest heart that you can't, but
Right.
your two hands can only do so much without
Right.
having the foundation of the financial support. So if someone says, hey, I have a heart for this, I want to help them, no donation is too small or too large.
Right.
How can they give back?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no donation is too small. People say, well, it's only this much. I'm like, well, that's that much we didn't
adds
have
up.
yesterday, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it takes, it's an army of supporters from individuals. We have some special needs moms that give $10 a month to churches that, if you're in your church, wants to add us, we can come and share our program and how your church can be a partner with us. Local businesses, a lot of local businesses sponsor a lot of our events, and we partner with local churches and businesses. So you could be a corporate sponsor at some of our events, and just an individual, or maybe you have someone in your family and you want to, hey, I want to give in their honor or in their memory. We have a lot of people that do that to give to Rising Above. And you can do that. Of course, our events, we need lots of volunteers. We had 200 at our prom.
So if you can't give money, you can give time.
Give your time. You can come volunteer. You don't have to have a training in special education or disabilities. We're never going to put you in a situation that you're not comfortable with, that you're not prepared. We're going to train you, do orientations. Our volunteers, if you've ever volunteered at Rising Above, will tell you it's like, I was there to help, but I got so much more from those people, those individuals, those families than anything. And so, you can volunteer. There's all kinds of ways to give. And again, it's like whether it's $10 or it's a one-time donation, or maybe you have influence in your business. A lot of businesses have charitable, arms like, hey, let me get you connected with this, or about grants. Reach out to us, contact us, let us know. And it's easy. You can go to our website. You can give directly there at our website. We make it super easy to do. Or maybe you want to talk to us and say, I want to learn more about this. I've got some ideas about giving and how I'd like to support. And we're totally open to those conversations too.
Well, Steve, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for telling us about your wonderful organization. And you're going to want to check out risingaboveministries.org. and definitely give to this wonderful organization. You have been listening to Today in Putnam County. I'm Shan Stout, and until we see you next week, enjoy the journey.
This has been Today in Putnam County with Shan Stout.